Hello again, everyone. It's your boy, the Invincible Chef. And what we're about to do today is work on those dinos. What I'm talking about is the quote-unquote dinosaur ribs, which are the beef short ribs. They're very thick, very heavy, and extremely meaty. It's like you're almost getting a steak on a stick. And when people make these, some people have the tendency to use the direct heat, which is fine, but I like to smoke mine slow and low. It makes them more juicy, more tender, and a lot more enjoyable that way. Now, what we're gonna do is show you how to prepare these, starting with trimming the fat and the silver skin, and then getting rid of the membrane on the rear of the ribs. Once we do that, we can set it up for that flavor profile that we are known for here at Invincible Chef Barbecue. So without any further ado, let's dive right in. First, remember, we're gonna use our Invincible Chef Universal Rub. Like I said, you got those prominent crystals of the sea salt in there, which is gonna help score the meat and help infuse that flavor. I have two different knives here. I have that boning, filleting knife, and a paring knife. These are sharp and small, and they're gonna help us get underneath that membrane and peel that fat back. They have tools for that now, I found out. I think it's kind of cheating. One of these days I'll get around to the convenience of having one of those, but as for right now, I like using my knives and my trusty paper towel. So I'm gonna turn this around so you guys can see. This is the side right here with the, there's a little bit of fat layer and then the fat cap there. And I start where the bones are, vertically straight down, to get rid of this membrane. It's thick and there's a layer of fat underneath there. But the best way to do it is to trim back a little bit with a knife. Hopefully you got a sharp one, because this can be stubborn. But using this paring knife and this filleting boning knife helps quite a bit. I'm gonna turn this around so you can get a look at that. And see, what I do is, since I've got it sharpened, and I try to sharpen these beforehand so you guys don't take away from your viewing experience. Let's go ahead and under there, and it's kind of a snap back. You gotta pull the lip away. And once you do, you lay the blade right next to it, and it'll come right up. It's kind of a crunchy sound like that because there's some sinews in there and things like that. But if you can find your way clear to getting rid of this excess fat, then you're gonna give yourself the ability for that flavor to seep in from the backside. Because with barbecue, especially with ribs, a lot of people are obsessed with getting a lot of the rub on the front part or the top part of the meat, which is great. But I told you about the Invincible Chef philosophy. The flavor should be in the chew, not just the bite, which means once you get it seasoned properly, that entire piece of meat is gonna be infused all the way to the bone instead of just a whole bunch of rub piled up on top of it. If you follow these techniques, which we'll be going through further after this, you'll see exactly how you can do that. So almost like shaving, I got the blade down flat next to the bone, and you gotta kind of be a little bit gentle here and not get too excited and pull fast, because it'll make you have to do it longer. This membrane is brittle and it can snap off, but you don't want it to do that. You just want it to make it all the way like a little sheet, and you peel it off like you're peeling off a decal or something. And that's fine. Now, I don't like to take all of it off, because if you do and you make them really, really tender, then the novelty of the meat on the stick kind of goes away, because like it falls away from the bone really fast, which is not a terrible thing, but I like the idea of it having a gentle pull. So as you're enjoying that bite and that flavor, it's still attached. Like, when you bite a popsicle or something, there's still something on there for you to enjoy with the whole time of holding. So there's a good portion we got off right there. There's a thick, fatty portion here, which we're gonna expose and then trim underneath. And this reminds me that many times when I, with barbecue before I learned, really to get into it, because I've been at this 25 years, I would just shake the seasoning on both sides, actually just on the top mainly, but I wouldn't take the membrane off. And then my cousin pulled me to the side, I was a youngster, and he's like, hey, get that membrane up off of there. I was like, why? And he explained, not only explained, but demonstrated. And by demonstration, I mean, I got a taste of his ribs. And his ribs were all the way good. And when I say all the way good, to the bone. And so ever since then, it's been a go-to technique that I do not neglect, whether it's pork spare ribs, beef back ribs, which are smaller, not quite as meaty, or beef short ribs, which are these right here. Now these are dang near about delicacy because you are going to shell out if you want to have these for dinner, because it's basically like a thick steak or a thick slice of brisket on a stick. And when prepared properly, there are a few things finer than a good, tender, juicy beef short rib. I can vouch for that. More importantly, so can my customers. So I hope they keep with that philosophy. As you can see here, we almost got the fat covering membrane off. And once we get that, this little basic membrane is gonna remain, because that's gonna get nice and crisp and keep the bones from separating unnecessarily when the meat gets really tender. Because one thing a lot of people don't realize is beef ribs, as you were ribs in general, when they fall off the bone, it means they're a little bit overcooked. It's at a certain temperature, which is approximately 202 degrees, that the muscle tissue starts to separate, which basically generates the tenderness that people are aware of. But if you hold them at a temperature above that for too long, then the meat's gonna be overcooked, overly tender, and often mushy. And when it does that, that connectivity doesn't just stop at the muscle, it goes to the places that connect it to the bone. And that way it won't be able to hold it on there. You wanna have a little bit of connectivity so that you can have that bite and enjoy it. So, look at that, we got that membrane squared away. That's one of the things that's most important, because it'll be a thin sheath that once you pour the rub on there and then run it back and forth, you're gonna score this and the smoke is gonna penetrate it from the back. So all of this meat's gonna taste good, and therefore you're gonna have that flavor all the way through the chew. Next, we're gonna deal with the fat cap. Now, there are different schools of thought on the fat cap. Some people think when you have a roast, a brisket, or even ribs like this, it's fat cap up or down depending on how you cook it. Me, I trim the fat cap thinly, and once I've done that, I generally cook with it up. And the reason why is because I like over time for any fat to be rendering and melting down across the meat. And with it properly seasoned and just a nice thin layer of fat, that water turns into the juice that rendering goes in the pan, and it's really nice to dip that meat into. And also tortillas, bread, and you can make an excellent gravy out of it as well. So don't sleep on that rendering. So here we are again, got the fat cap. We're gonna turn it at an angle, okay, like this, so we can get a chance to get under that lip. And first with a little slice. Now, if you get a little bit of meat in there, that's okay. Your priority is to get the fat cap off, and if you can, some of that silver skin, because that can be very frustrating. Hoping that, or making sure that once it cooks and heats up to the proper temperatures, that you're not dealing with any chewing issues. You don't want it to be rubbery or gummy or anything like that when you get to the chewing part of it. And you see out here, it's almost like shaving. This fat is coming right off and we're getting down to the silver skin. Now, a couple of schools of thought on that as well. For me, the way I prepare this and everything, it kind of breaks down pretty well and it's not that much of an issue, but I'm willing to sacrifice just a tiny thin layer of meat to get that silver skin off so that I can make sure that that seasoning makes it all the way through to the bone. But to each their own. I won't tell anyone the manner in which they should actually conduct their barbecue techniques, but I will give you the tips and the information so that you can make yours as delicious as possible, because that's the invincible way. So here we go. Steadily, and I do mean steadily. If you do this too aggressively and you got a good sharp blade like this one is pulling this away, you see the striations in the meat there. It's a nice layer over there, a thin muscular membrane, which we're gonna take care of that when we put the rub on there. The sea salt is gonna perforate that membrane, and it's gonna allow the meat to accept the smoke for a longer period of time than it normally would. And that's how you get that deep flavor. When you get a chunk of meat, chunk of fat on the corner like that, I like to do strips, because if you just hack right into there, like I almost did right there, you're gonna find out there's meat underneath there, and you might fool around and chop off 3 or 4 ounces of meat. And this meat that has this fat around it ends up always being the most tender, juicy, and delicious when smoked. So you don't wanna hack away at that fat to get it out of there. You wanna make sure that when you actually do this trimming, that the meat is cold, not frozen, but partially thawed. enough so that you have a firmness in the meat and the fat, so it allows you to manipulate it. Because we all know, if it's thawed and that fat is warm, it's gonna be slimy, it's not gonna be cooperative, and it's gonna slide around, and that grease in the fat is gonna make it a little bit difficult for you to deal with, make your blades slide around and everything else. And nobody wants to deal with that, you know? So one thing about doing this prep on a level like this, so that you can do it meticulously, you wanna be in control. So when your knife work comes along, you don't run the risk of anything happening because of the knife slipping. When you have that control, it's a lot safer, and you can be a lot more meticulous with your cuts. And when you're meticulous with your cuts, you save meat. You don't waste meat by just basically making throwaway cuts where you chop off a whole bunch of fat and let the meat go with it because you just wanted to get the fat off of there. I would strongly suggest to anybody who's going to cook beef short ribs is that you set yourself up with plenty of prep time, because it's almost like dealing with a work of art here, okay? You want to trim around in the areas and the crevices and clean that out. And by clean it out, I mean just get the excess fat out of there. Expose the meat, okay? And if you do, if you can, then it's gonna make it easier. See, I'm gonna attempt to get some of this silver skin off, and I'm not gonna go into surgery here to try to get it all off, but I'm gonna try to shoot my shot at peeling some of it back without cutting away too much meat. And if I can't, that's fine. But I always like to take a shot at it because, you know, you want to get at that meat underneath and make sure it gets exposed. And sometimes what I do is, if I can't just get it up right away or get it up right off, I'll peel it back and expose the meat so that, you know, the smoke can get there. So there I go. I got the silver skin peeled back there. So what I do is, at that point, I just run the blade like I'm as in slicing underneath the silver skin, okay? And it's gonna push that meat back. And at first it comes across like it's making it a little jagged or whatever, but what ends up happening is once we apply the rub and everything else, see, like putting some pomade on your hair, just go ahead and rub that down and it'll lay back into its natural grain. And it's almost worth it, the little bit of meat that you lose here, so you can get that access to this tissue with the smoke. Now, like I said, I'm probably not gonna get it all comfortably, but we wanna get a significant portion of it taken away so that when it comes down to the smoking part, which we'll be doing shortly, you can go ahead and make sure that flavor gets in there. So, right now we're gonna check on a few things, take a small break, and finish this cut of meat. And when we get done with that, we're gonna go ahead and put it on the grill. So we'll be right back in a couple of minutes. All right, so here we are at the time where we can set ourselves up for success with the seasoning. This is the fun part because we did all the hard work. We cleaned off a lot of the silver skin. We got the fat cap off of there. We left just enough to render into the meat, and we cleaned off that membrane in between the bones. Now that we got through all the academic part, we can get to the recreational part, because I love seasoning these meats, because when I do that, I know that I'm paving the way for a delicious and strong flavor profile. And that's what makes people excited. Because my thing is, I don't want people to say, or I want them to shout. Some of them might swear, but it all depends how inspired you are. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna start with what I use for a binder. A lot of people like to use mustard or mayonnaise or something like that, something a little more viscous. Me, for the larger cuts of meat, your roasts, and you see how thick and substantial this cut is as I turn that around, and then you look at it from the side. It's almost like a roast, you know, in that regard. I like to use olive oil, extra virgin olive oil, because when I apply that as a binder, it helps the seasoning to stick to it. And it also builds a layer, and it takes a little while to get that out of there. It's a full bottle, there you go. And it also gives it a layer of moisture that helps seal in some of the juices and flavors as it cooks out. So it makes it a little bit slower for the juices to cook through out into the meat. And when you have that, you set yourself up for success in retaining that flavor, because when you smoke something like this for a good period of time, there's a holding period, okay? So that the juices can make it all the way through, so the temperature can settle, and so they can attain the proper, appropriate level of tenderness. When that is happening, it can't get past this seal, so those juices circulate by and large, and they make that meat even more juicy, as well as just getting tender. And if you neglect that, and a lot of people do in the beginning, it's understandable. But the more time you spend doing this, the more things you realize that are beneficial to your preparation. Some of it's kind of mundane, a little bit boring, but you put in time doing that, it's gonna work. So once again, the invincible way. We're gonna gently let it cascade down onto the meat, in this case onto the membrane, because working with those large salt crystals in there, we're gonna rub that gently across there and we're gonna score that membrane. Little microscopic pores are gonna be made, and that right there is like having a screen door out there, because that smoke is gonna get right through that membrane now. And for the home run hitter, right across the top. Now, people like to pack it on. I don't. I always tell people all the time, season from the wrist, not from the elbow. So when you gently let it fall onto the meat, instead of slapping it or packing it on there, it hits a little bit different because you get balance. Okay, this is just a light coating because we want to do the rubbing. Because literally I like to rub the meat down almost like a deep tissue massage, because this scoring allows for that flavor to get deep into the meat. Because once we use the Worcestershire sauce, which will help the meat break down even further, it's going to dissolve these seasonings into the tissue. And that in itself is going to take the flavor to a whole nother level. And the thing is, when you're doing these ribs, whether it be spare ribs or beef ribs, don't forget the sides. Do not neglect the sides. Everybody's all gung-ho about getting that flavor on the top, but these sides is where the bite continues at. And let me tell you, there have been times, not for mine, but that I've had some ribs and the side meat was bland. I took a big bite and there was all type of flavor on here, and then the bottom part tasted like chewy air. And you don't want that. You want flavor all the way through. So don't be shy when it comes to drizzling that rub on there, because we're gonna rub it on there. The excess will fall off, and that's good. You don't want a bunch of the seasoning just packed on there and not being actionable. You want it to work for you. That's the whole point of it. You're gonna generate a flavor profile, you're gonna infuse it into the meat, and it's gonna do that work for you, because all barbecue is after that is temperature regulation. But if you don't prepare it properly, prepare it to be delicious, then all you're doing is sticking some meat on the grill. I'm not a fan of that. I'm a fan of creating a unique and memorable barbecue experience. Having said that, this is the last pass for that rub. We got it in there nice and deep. Now, the home run hitter is this Worcestershire sauce. Because of its acidic nature, it will break down these seasonings. It'll start breaking it down on and in the meat before it even starts cooking, which is awesome, because it's like an agent of assistance for you, helping you get where you want to go or reach your flavor destination, because it assists in getting that flavor into the meat. Some people do injections, and I do that too on certain types of meats, but this right here works like an injection, because as it breaks down, it flows, makes the seasoning, it's like a solution of Worcestershire sauce and the seasoning, and it goes right up into that meat, and you see it get that darkness, and you got a nice, rich, robust color. And yes, I'm hitting all these sides, because attention to detail and thoroughness is the thing that takes you from having marginal to exceptional barbecue. You have to be consistent. You have to do the same thing every time. And when you do, that's how you make a name for yourself. Now look at that. That's an entirely different piece of meat. And it has all of the makings of a tender, delicious rack of ribs. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna step outside and we're gonna put this in the smoker and let that smoker do the work for us. So come on out with us, and in a few minutes, we're gonna show you how it's done on the grill. All right, everybody, We just got through taking these dino ribs off of the smoker. As you can see, we got a nice bark, nice color, deep, rich, juicy, just like we planned. And let me tell you, these are gonna be very satisfying for some people to get to eat them. I like when we achieve what we look out for when we set up this food, because all that preparation is worth it after hours and hours of smoking, to see that color, to see all that juice, and to know for a fact that flavor is gonna be off the hinges. Now, this right here, when I'm cooking, especially when I do something that takes a long time, I look at it as a mission. And the reason I take that perspective to so many things that I do is because I was a Marine for 22 years. And long before I was the invincible chef, I was a young sergeant named Ian Moore. And in 2004, I was in my home unit, 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines. And we went to the Middle East to participate in combat operations in Fallujah. Now, during that operation, I lost a lot of my brothers. Between 2 tours, 39 total. And every achievement that I've made, from each subsequent promotion, every award, and all of the things that I've generated as far as opportunities, every time I succeeded, I brought all of my brothers with me. To commemorate that, every time I got one of those achievements, I would do the roll call, which means this shirt that I have on presently for 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, with the logo on the front, on the back it has the list, it says Freedom Sacrifice. And if you'll permit me, I'm gonna go ahead and do the roll call, because this show is the culmination of one of my dreams coming true. And since all of these brothers didn't make it this far, I take them with me. So, to start, we have from Headquarters and Service Company, Sergeant Russell L. Slay, Sergeant Trevor L. Spink, Sergeant Krista Nachampasic, Corporal Bradley T. Arms, Corporal Nicanor Alvarez, Corporal Terry Holmes, Lance Corporal Lewis W. Qualls, Lance Corporal James E. Swain, PFC Christopher J. Reed. 4 of those Marines were the first casualties in the conflict. From Weapons Company, we had Sergeant Byron Superman Norwood. Shout out to his father, who is a wonderful man I admire. And in 3rd Battalion, 1st Marines, we stay in touch through our committee that makes for us our reunions. Corporal Brian Oliveira, Corporal Stephen A. Rentamaki, Lance Corporal Joshua W. Dickinson, Lance Corporal Abraham Simpson. From India Company, Corporal Dale A. Berger Jr., Lance Corporal Justin D. McLeese, Lance Corporal Andres H. Perez, Lance Corporal Joseph T. Welke, Lance Corporal Philip G. West, PFC Fernando B. Hannon, PFC Jeffrey Perez. From Kilo Company, Sergeant Christopher T. Heflin, Sergeant Morgan W. Strader, Lance Corporal Jeremy A. Ailes, Lance Corporal Juan E. Segura. And from Lima Company, Sergeant Juan Calderon Jr., Sergeant William C. James, Corporal Theodore A. Bowling, Lance Corporal Benjamin S. Bryan, Lance Corporal Luis A. Figueroa, Lance Corporal Nicholas D. Larson, Lance Corporal Michael W. Hanks, and Lance Corporal Nathan R. Wood. These are the 34 brothers from the original casualties in Fallujah, and the rest were from Haditha the following year. This is a shirt that I carry with me everywhere I go, and every time I reach a milestone in my life, you see it's kind of difficult and emotional, I bring this out and I do this roll call, because I made the promise and the commitment to them and their families that everything I did going forward, I would take them with me. So I thank you all for being supportive, for enjoying this show with me, and taking the opportunity to learn how to barbecue the invincible way. So for you, for my brothers here, and for everybody out there in TV land, I'm gonna say, have a wonderful and blessed day, and stick to the game, because you can learn how to barbecue the invincible way. God bless you.